On Thai PBS World Tonight, Prime Minister has confirmed that Kut Island belongs to Thailand. The leading opposition party raises concerns over government's attempt to control Thai Airways. And World Bank suggests sustainable platforms to mitigate frequent flooding. Good evening, you're watching Thai PBS World Tonight. I'm Frank Kanshi.
And I'm Nad Bunna.
And today, of course, we still have to talk about the continuous disputes in Kut Island. Of course, Kut Island, according to several governmental officials, they say that Kut Island belongs to Thailand, but right now we're seeing this dispute still going on. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra has confirmed that Kut Island is still belonging to Thailand under the Franco-Siamese Treaty since 1907. Following the coalition leaders' meeting, the Prime Minister assured the public, stating, "I'm fully Thai. Thailand and its people must always come first. I can confirm this government's commitment to safeguarding Thailand's territory and doing everything in our power to ensure the happiness of our people." In a related statement, the Thai Foreign Ministry reaffirmed that Kut Island has been an integral part of Thailand since 1907, following a treaty signed between Siam and France. The ministry also emphasized that there's no need to cancel MOU 44, as it continues to provide a suitable framework for discussion with Cambodia regarding the joint development of the disputed area. Director General of the Department of Treaties and Legal Affairs explained that Cambodia's unilateral declaration of its continental shelf zone in 1972 led to the creation of a 26,000 square kilometer overlap encompassing the continental shelves of both nations and their exclusive economic zone. According to international protocols for overlapping claim areas, Thailand and Cambodia are expected to resolve their differences through negotiation, leading to the establishment of MOU 44 as a means for joint development. The Director General also clarified that the MOU does not imply any loss of Kut Island to Cambodia, as it has been recognized as Thai territory under the Franco-Siamese Treaty since 1907. In 2009, the Thai cabinet initially considered a proposal to cancel the MOU due to stalled development talks. However, 5 years later, the cabinet revisited the decision and ultimately chose to maintain the MOU, acting on the advice of a special committee that included representatives from Ministry of Energy, the National Security Council, and the Council of State. Thai Interior Minister Anutin Charnvirakul commented that the MOU could only be revoked with the mutual agreement of both Thailand and Cambodia. He dismissed the recent media reports suggesting that the MOU had been unilaterally revoked by a previous Thai government, urging the press to avoid spreading this misinformation. Defense Minister Phumtham Wechayachai echoed these sentiments, questioning the rationale for cancelling the MOU, as Kut Island remains under Thai sovereignty irrespective of the MOU. He further refuted claims that the former administration under former Prime Minister Abhisit had unilaterally terminated the agreement. So, of course, we still see this continuous dispute, the tension between two countries there, of course, in Thailand, in our country, in media, in political sphere. We still debate on this one.
And just to explain, the MOU 44 was signed by then Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, which was aimed to be a framework for joint development of oil and gas in the overlapping claim area. So there were calls to scrap the MOU recently by some of the politicians as well. But then you can see that the dispute is still ongoing.
Yeah, because some people are worried about if Kut Island will also finally scrapped and go to the side of Cambodia. But of course, we see some from the defense side too. The Navy commander-in-chief also claimed that and say that he will protect Kut Island if there's any dispute on the sea.
But putting on the dispute aside, Kut is actually one of the famous tourist destinations. And look at that. The island is really beautiful and it has attracted a lot of tourists, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic. And the district chief even said that they don't want the island to be affected even more only because of the ongoing disputes.
And there's a number there, of course, 300,000 visitors per year. Internationally, domestically, people want to go to the island to enjoy that water sport and their leisure time there. But now, of course, the dispute's still there. We still have to keep our eyes on that.
Yes, and yesterday we talked about the political interference in choosing the new chairman of the Bank of Thailand. Now this political interference may have been questioned with Thailand's national airline, Thai Airways. And recently, opposition People's Party deputy leader Sirikanya Tansakul has expressed her concern over the government's latest move to retake control of Thai Airways International as the company is about to exit rehabilitation plans and to increase its share capital. Sirikanya is asking why the government is proposing the appointment of 2 new managers to the 5-member planning panel to replace 2 who recently resigned. The administration is proposing Ponjak Nimwathana, the Deputy Director of the State Enterprise Police Office, and Panya Chupanit, the Director of the Office of Transport and Traffic Policy and Planning. The 3 remaining members on the panel include former Energy Minister Piyasawat Amaranan, Fiscal Policy Office Director Ponchai Thirawet, and former Thai Airways President Chansin Trinuchkon. Sirikanya said that if the 2 proposed managers are approved by the airline's creditors at a meeting this Friday, the government will have the majority representation when it comes to a vote on the debt to equity swap to reduce Thai's accumulated 60 billion baht debt and the reduction in its share price. The debt to equity swap plan has already been filed with the Stock Exchange of Thailand, and the next step is to reduce the airline's capital to wipe out the accumulated debt, which is a normal practice for companies exiting the rehabilitation program. And since the government is the major shareholder in Thai Airways, it is right for the government to have control in managing the rehabilitation plan, adding that it is wrong in this particular case because the planning panel should represent the creditors and not the shareholders. The government lent Thai Airways 12.8 billion baht to help settle its accumulated debts, and now it wants to have a controlling vote on the planning panel, which may be unfair to other creditors. And Sirikanya also wondered aloud from where the government will get the money to buy new shares to increase capital and to gain control of the airline if it does not use taxpayers' money. She even said that quite a few Thai Airways staff may dread the prospect that the government will interfere with the airline's plan to buy new aircraft, as was the case 2 decades ago when Thai Airways purchased a fleet of A340 aircraft and suffered huge losses by operating the fuel-hungry aircraft on non-profitable U.S. routes. She also urged the creditors to reject the government's proposed planning managers this Friday.
So this is the government role, their strategic plan to see how the Thai Airways can revive at this point. Because of course we see, actually 1 month ago we talked about it already, but we know that Thai Airways will use the public hearing to get more than 29 billion baht. But right now, of course, you talk about it, Ned, you talk about actually Thai Airways accumulated 60 billion baht right now. And Sirikanya Dasakul, of course, the deputy chief of People's Party there, questioned rightly there as how Thai Airways could survive and how the government could get more money without taxpayers' money. So that's the point there.
Yeah, but the problem that we also have to mention is that political interference, even though we all know that it's wrong, but we see that pretty much everywhere with the recent Bank of Thailand, with how they want to nominate someone who's really close to the Pheu Thai party, and now Thai Airways choosing someone who is actually close to the government. So it's more like the government wants to take control of every company that is closely related to the government.
To the government, as what you said, why did they choose those people really close to the government? And if they really have the specialization and expertise to help this company to revitalize their businesses, this is a very important point that you talk about.
Yes, and most of these companies should be independent to begin with.
Right.
Most of them, like even the Bank of Thailand, there is a law that shows that they must run independently without any government interference. Thai Airways could have been the same, where they should not allow any political interference into the way they run its business.
Yes, and how could that survive in the future? Because there are so many competitors in the market, no matter in ASEAN or the global market there. So the government should choose the right person rather than the person close to the government without any expertise.
Yes.
And we have to talk about another issue in Thailand too, which is flooding, as we've seen this many years.
Yep.
Of course, the most important, significant event that we have to talk about is in 2011, that's the Bangkok massive flooding. But actually this year we saw very much flooding in northern part of Thailand
many
too.
of the provinces in the north and northeast experienced severe flooding, and some of them just recently recovered from the floods as well and has gone through big cleanings and rehabilitation. So we have seen that the massive flooding has affected many of the communities and households, and also numbers of businesses as well.
Yes, international organizations, of course, right now, they want the Thai government to cooperate together for long-term plan. And one of that is World Bank, because the World Bank suggests Thai government should put more than $2.2 billion for long-term program here. And World Bank also suggests 3 new platforms for sustainability. And this is my conversation with the country director of World Bank. Have a look. One question I have to ask before we get into flood management, because of course, World Bank has been here for many years to help. And last year, I talked to the vice president of World Bank too. So what's your concern here? Is it about the budget issue? Is it about the weak performance of the economy? Or it's just sluggish movement from the government side? What's the concern?
And so what we're seeing now is Thailand had grown at 7% during the boom years. But since before the pandemic, the growth has slowed down significantly. Yes. Now, it's a combination of having been hit by the pandemic in the structure of Thailand's economy, which is heavily dependent on tourism. That's taking longer to bounce back. Thailand is a little bit behind its peers in East Asia in bouncing back from that, but tourism is recovering. So this is part of it. Part of it also is the structural transformations that are necessary to shift into high income status and to be really competitive, to really take advantage of the green economy in a way that's sustainable, requires some reforms that are tough.
So how would you say about the collaboration between World Bank and government? Because of course we know there are some collaboration efforts in Ayutthaya province and other parts. So what's the long-term project here?
What we're doing now, talking with the government, is about starting to do the infrastructure investments for the Chao Phraya that would mitigate against this. So this will cost about $2.2 billion. A mix of government budget, development partners who could bring international financing, and also the experience of this is underway, and domestic financing. The key part of this is that it's important to start doing this now, do it well, right? And so follow this well set out plan that the government has and do all of it. This is the kind of intervention that it doesn't help to dredge one canal. Water finds its way. Think about if you have a flood in your house. You can plug this hole, but water is always going to find another hole, right? And so do it now, do it well, and do all of it. Plan to do all of it, not just a piece of it. And that will really help with the flood management. Now, the flip side of that is drought management. So a portion of this discussion is also about reserving water and having the right systems for getting water out to people when we're in the dry period.
Thailand has been trapped in this situation maybe for decades because, of course, Thailand's government wants to move the country to the high-income country here. But as what you see, of course, you observe this region for years. I just want to understand how Thailand can really elevate itself to high-income country.
Yeah. Now, so Thailand currently we're projecting is growing at about 3.5%.
Yes.
And the government has a goal of being a high-income economy by 2030. That would mean growing at 7% or higher over that period, which is that means a pretty significant shift in the economy. Now, how to get there? So the World Development Report that the World Bank put out is on the middle income trap. And so readers may want to take a look at that. But it proposes 3 stages to think about for this. So it's called investment, infusion, and innovation.
So World Bank, the country director for Thailand and Myanmar, Melinda Kut, there to talk about the new platform for sustainability and, of course, the middle income trap that Thailand right now faces. There are so many measures to go through right now. But, of course, this depends on the government.
Right. And we just talked about the flooding situation in the north and northeast, and some of the animals often come with the floods as well, which are monitor lizards. But this piece of good news are not. You know that monitor lizards as well as 2 other birds have been reclassified by the Wildlife Conservation and Protection Committee as protected species, which can be raised and harvested for commercial purposes. So if anyone is interested in harvesting monitor lizards, this might be good news for you, but not really good news for those who hate them. And according to the Department of National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation, the monitor lizard has been added to the list of 62 protected species, which can be raised and harvested for its hide, which is durable, has delicate patterns, and can be made into leather products. After the issuance of ministerial announcements to reclassify the 3 protected species, anyone interested in raising them for commercial purposes can seek permission from the Department of National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation. They can also get more information on how to raise the reptiles from Kasetsart University, which has conducted studies on raising, harvesting and commercialization of monitor lizards, which are found in many watercourses. Regarding suitable places and locations for raising these 3 species, the department is currently working on a report which is expected to be released in the next 6 months. The population of monitor lizards in Bangkok, such as in Lumpini Park and in several urban communities, has increased substantially. And although protected by law, they are hunted as food, used as traditional medicine, and for the production of leather products. Under the current law, possession of protected wildlife species or their carcasses is an offense, and those convicted face a prison sentence of up to 10 years and or a fine of 1 million baht. And these animals, although it is true that many Thais hate these kind of monitor lizards, and it's even a swear word in Thai language as well, but there are some businesses who actually transform these monitor lizards into leather goods. I've seen bags and purses that are made from monitor lizard skin.
Firstly, I think I come from a country where we don't see monitor lizard a lot. So the first time I saw that, actually, I was quite frightened because I don't know how to interact with them. But actually, they are quite cute in my eyes.
Well, it's frightening for me.
Yeah, it's
frightening for me because considering that the monitor lizards would climb out of the pond or the water courses, sometimes you don't know whether they're going to do or whether they're going to bite you or eat your food.
But actually, we are quite scared for them because sometimes if we walk past them, they will just leave away. They will just skip away. But I think one more point that we have to talk about is that maybe the animal protection NGO or some organization, they will have different thoughts about that because this is already being announced that monitor lizard can now be raised legally for commercial purposes. Wow.
Well, if it's put in a zoo or if it's for leather goods, that would be one thing. They would have a different perspective how to harvest these reptiles. But then for normal, ordinary people like us, I think it's best to stay away from them.
To stay away from them. But I think, of course, NGO, they will have different thoughts and some protests about it, but let's see.
Yeah, but maybe we might see more of the leather goods that are made from monitor lizards, and maybe it might become much more popular if they actually try to push for the success of these kind of products. All right, and that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS World Tonight. Join us every Monday and Tuesday at 6 p.m. on Thai PBS World's Facebook and YouTube Live. And don't forget to follow us on social media and our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates about Thailand as well as analyses. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ